I am touring a property today that came on the market. It's a fairly large property and it is a Class C value add. The buildings are in very poor condition, have not been maintained at all. The grounds are not in good condition at all. So on the surface, when you see a deal, sometimes you see, man, there's a lot of units and maybe it's a good price and things like that. But then when you go tour it, you got to look a little deeper. So as I'm touring the property, there's a lot of boarded up units, there's a lot of vacant units. The landscaping is in very poor condition. The buildings themselves are in very poor condition. There's no central air conditioning. They're all window units. So this is a pretty rough property. A lot of opportunity though. But here's the thing, when you visit a property like this and you have a number, these are all townhouse style units. So what that means is this is a big property. I mean, there's, 500-600 units, something like that, spread out over, I don't know, 30 acres. So it's a huge property to maintain when you think about landscaping and snow and parking, sidewalks, all that kind of stuff. Then you have a ton of buildings. So most of these buildings only have 10 to 12 units in them. Some of them have a little more, some have a little less. But that's a lot of roofs for individual buildings. That's a lot of doors for all these individual buildings. It's a lot of, depending on what you do for utilities, a lot of issues there. So that's the type of stuff you want to look at. So don't just look at unit count, don't just look at the price. Make sure you take a deeper look at the building itself, look at the property, think about your expenses in terms of maintaining the property, maintaining the buildings, all the different things that come into play when you're looking at a larger, more spread out property like this. It's very inefficient from an operational standpoint. So you don't want to come in here. Right now, this is March of 2020. It's very competitive in the multifamily space, and I'm seeing a lot of C-class properties offered at and even trading in the low or mid fours to upper fours, low fives. And you really got to be careful before you pay that kind of money for a property. If you are buying a property that's a value add, that's a Class C like this, especially as spread out as these units are, and in the area that they're in, people live here for one reason: it's cheap. So if you're buying a building or a property where the rents are $700-800 a month, and your whole business plan is to raise the rents, up to $1,000 or $1,100 or $1,200, you need to make sure that you can do that, because when a tenant is paying $700-800 a month and you raise that rent $200 a month, that is a big problem. That's a huge jump for that individual. It makes a big difference in their income, versus if you're buying a building, if you're going to pay 4.5 cap, 5 cap, you can get a Class B, Class A building. And if you're going to buy a property like that and the rents are $1,200 to $1,500, even $1,800 a month, and you want to raise the rents $100 or $200 a month, that's not a huge deal. That is a little bit easier absorbed by that tenant. They can generally afford to pay $100 or $200 a month more, and they're not going to, it's not going to affect them. But if you're paying $700-800 a month and your rent goes up $200, that's enough to make you move. That's a significant increase in your rent. So make sure you validate your business plan, your concept, before you just jump in. As you can see, there are some renovations underway on some of these units, but make sure before you jump into a property like this that you do your homework, you understand what's involved, who lives here, what their income level is, what they're paying, and make sure that you're smart about it and you plan for everything that you can before you just automatically jump into a property like this.